The Scorpion and the Frog by Aesop's Fables. Once upon a time, on the edge of a wide and muddy river, there lived a frog. He was a cheerful fellow, bright green, with big golden eyes and a smile that seemed to stretch from one side of his face to the other. Every morning he would sit on his favorite lily pad, catch flies, and sing little songs to himself. Now, this river was a busy place. Turtles swam lazily through its currents. Fish leapt and splashed in the shadows. Dragonflies darted about like tiny jeweled helicopters. And on this particular morning, the sun was warm, the breeze was cool, and all seemed right with the world. But on the other side of the riverbank, in the dry and dusty scrubland, where the grass grew thin and the rocks baked in the sun, there sat a scorpion. He was not a cheerful fellow. He was dark and shiny, with a hard shell and two sharp pincers and a long curved tail that ended in a wicked-looking stinger. The other creatures of the scrubland gave him a wide berth. The mice scurried away when they saw him coming. The beetles hid under their stones. Even the snakes, kept their distance. The scorpion didn't mind, or at least he told himself he didn't mind. He had important business to attend to. You see, the scorpion needed to get across the river. On the far side, the land was green and lush. There was food there. There was shade. There was everything the scorpion needed, and he was determined to reach it. There was just one problem. The scorpion could not swim. Not even a little bit. He stood at the water's edge and stared at the river with his small dark eyes. The current was strong. The water was deep. And every time he dipped a leg in, the cold rushed up through his shell, and he scrambled back to the dry land with a shudder. "This is no good," he muttered to himself. "No good at all." He paced back and forth along the bank, his pincers clicking together in frustration. And then he spotted the frog. There he was, sitting on his lily pad in the shadows, catching flies and humming tunelessly. The scorpion's eyes narrowed. A thought crept into his mind. A clever thought, he told himself. A perfectly reasonable thought. "Excuse me," the scorpion called out. The frog looked up, mid-hum. He saw the scorpion standing at the water's edge, and his big golden eyes went very, very wide. Said the frog. "Hello?" "Good morning," said the scorpion in his smoothest voice. "Lovely day, isn't it?" "It was," said the frog carefully. "I wonder," said the scorpion, "if I might ask you a small favor." "A favor?" The frog blinked. "What sort of favor?" "Well, you see," the scorpion began, "I need to get across this river, and I can't swim, but you can swim beautifully. I've been watching you. You glide through the water like it's nothing at all. So I was thinking, perhaps you might carry me across on your back." The frog stared at the scorpion for a long moment. Then he let out a laugh, a big, croaky, ribboning laugh that echoed off the water. "Carry you on my back?" the frog exclaimed. "You must think I'm a fool. Do you know what you are? You're a scorpion. You'll sting me." "Now, why would I do that?" the scorpion asked, tilting his head to one side. "Because that's what scorpions do," said the frog, throwing his little green arms wide. "You sting things. It's your whole thing." The scorpion sighed, a long, patient sigh, as if he were dealing with a very small child.
"My dear frog," he said, "think about it logically. If I sting you while you're carrying me across the river, what happens?"
The frog opened his mouth. Then he closed it again. Then he opened it once more. "Well, I suppose I'd sink," said the frog.
"Exactly," said the scorpion. "You'd sink. And then what would happen to me?"
"You'd sink too," said the frog slowly.
"Precisely." The scorpion spread his pincers wide. "I'd drown. We'd both drown. Now I ask you, what possible sense would that make? Why on earth would I sting the very creature who is keeping me alive? It would make no sense. I only want to get to the other side."
The frog sat very still on his lily pad thinking. It was a good point. A very good point, actually. If the scorpion stung him in the middle of the river, they'd both go down. Even a scorpion wouldn't be that foolish, would he? I don't know, the frog said, rubbing the back of his head with one webbed hand.
"I understand your hesitation," the scorpion said kindly, or at least in a voice that sounded kind. "Truly I do. You've heard stories about scorpions, terrible stories, I'm sure. But I promise you, on my honor, I will not sting you. I give you my word."
"Your word?" the frog repeated.
"My solemn word," said the scorpion. "I need your help, frog. I can't do this alone, and I swear, no harm will come to you."
The frog looked at the river. He looked at the far bank, green and shady and peaceful. He looked at the scorpion, standing there with his pincers clasped together, almost as if in prayer. And he thought about it one more time.
"It really doesn't make any sense for him to sting me," the frog told himself. "We'd both drown. He's not stupid. He's just a scorpion who needs a ride."
"All right," said the frog at last, and he swam to the bank. "Climb on." The scorpion's dark eyes glinted.
"Thank you," he said. "You won't regret this."
Carefully, very carefully, the scorpion crawled onto the frog's broad, slippery back. He gripped on with his many legs and tucked his tail up tight. The frog could feel the weight of him, hard and sharp, and he shivered just a little. "Ready?" said the frog.
"Ready," said the scorpion.
And so the frog pushed off from the bank and began to swim. The water was cool and the current was steady. The frog kicked with his strong back legs, and they moved out into the river, slowly at first and then faster as the frog found his rhythm. The far bank drew closer. The sun sparkled on the water, and for a time, everything was fine. They reached the middle of the river, the deepest part. The water here was dark and cold, and the current tugged at them with invisible hands. And then the frog felt it. A sharp, burning pain in the middle of his back, white hot, like a needle made of fire. It spread through his body in an instant, down his legs, up his spine, into every muscle and nerve. The scorpion had stung him. The frog gasped. His legs began to stiffen. The poison was already doing its terrible work, and he could feel himself sinking slowly, horribly, into the dark water. With the last of his strength, the frog turned his head and looked up at the scorpion, still clinging to his back. The scorpion's tail was raised, a single drop of venom glistening at its tip. "Why?" the frog whispered. His voice was barely more than a croak now, fading like the last note of a song. "Why did you do that? Now we'll both die." The scorpion looked at the frog, and for just a moment something flickered in his dark eyes, something that might have been sorrow, or regret, or simply the cold recognition of a truth he had always known. "I know," the scorpion said quietly. "I'm sorry." "But why?" the frog asked again as the water rose around them. The scorpion was silent for a moment. The river lapped at his legs. The far bank, so close, so green, so full of promise, shimmered in the sunlight just out of reach. "Because," the scorpion said,
It is my nature. And with that, they both slipped beneath the surface of the water, the frog and the scorpion together, and the river closed over them if they had never been there at all. The dragonflies went on darting, the turtles went on swimming, the sun went on shining, and the river, as rivers always do, kept right on flowing. The moral of the story is this: some will harm you not out of reason and not out of malice, but simply because it is in their nature to do so, and no amount of logic or promises or good faith can change what a creature truly is. But there's another lesson too, one for the frog. When someone shows you who they are, it's wise to believe them. Trust is a precious thing, and it should be given to those who have earned it, not only to those who have merely asked for it.